Good evening, my name is Jenny Millán. This is the album about my country, divided in the following chapters. Chapter number 1, My Family History. I never met my maternal grandparents because my mother lost them at age 5. I had great paternal grandparents. They were very special to all their grandkids. They used to live in ranch named La Argentina, from a small town called Montefrio, which belongs to the city of Chaguaní, Cundinamarca, in Colombia. My grandmother's name was Custodia de Millán, and my grandfather's name was Noé Millán. They were amazing, and they always loved their grandchildren and parents to come and visit during the June and December vacations. My grandparents. My grandparents taught most of his grandkids the whole process of sowing coffee, from planting it to how to deliciously prepare it to drink it. My grandmother was very dedicated to her family, and every time we visited, she was very attentive to us and would spend her majority of time with her grandkids, kids and husband. She always cooked with great love and very delicious. My grandparents were very healthy until they became already, and the cancer was the killer of my grandparents. Chapter number 2, Simon Bolivar. Simon Bolivar was born on July 23rd in 1783 in Caracas, Venezuela, and died on December 17 in 1839, Santa Marta, Colombia. He is known as a libertador and considered a national hero of many South American countries for leading the South American movement of independence against Spanish colonial power in what is today Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. Simon Bolivar. On May 14, in 1813, the independence battles recommenced, and finally Bolivar and his troops managed to occupy Caracas on August 6, where he proclaimed the Second Republic of Venezuela. He went to New Granada, assumed command of a Colombian unit, and conquered Bogota in 1814. Afterwards, Bolivar planned the taking of Cartagena and hoped for a collaboration with her local forces. But this intention failed, and Bolivar was forced to go into exile to Jamaica. There he stayed from May till December of the year 1815. Francisco de Paula Santander. Francisco de Paula Santander was born on April 2nd, 1792, and played a great role in Colombia's struggle for independence. Before beginning his career in military at the tender age of 18, he was pursuing his studies in law. He joined as a Federalist, but later joining in the rank of colonel in 1812. Under the edict of Simon Bolivar, Santander was promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in 1817. In October 1821, after the formation of the Constitution of Cúcuta, Santander was vehemently elected as the Vice President of Gran Colombia. Francisco de Paula Santander. During his tenure as the Vice President, he had to face a lot of political and economic pressures. Also, in the later part, his differences with Simon Bolivar had to undergo a serious crisis for a considerable period of time. His return from exile in 1832 made him the president of New Granada, which continued till 1836. He eventually died in 1840 after the end of his tenure. Jorge Eliezer Gaitán. Jorge Eliezer Gaitán came from a humble background, born on January 23, 1903, and had to face a lot of hardship at the tender age. In spite of the hardship, he attained his law degree and later he joined as a professor in the National University of Colombia. His political career began in early 1919 under the able leadership of Marco Fidel Suárez. In 1933, he formed his own political party, the Unión Izquierdista Revolucionaria. Jorge Eliezer Gaitán. Later in 1935, he again joined the Liberal Party and was formally elected as the mayor of Bogotá. During his political career, he also built new heights of success and at the same time was also shrouded by controversies. His assassination on April 9, 1998 marked the end of his life, though the real case behind his untimely death needs to be ascertained. Chapter 3. El Bogotazo. The Bogotazo. The Bogotazo was a very strong subject and left a memorable mark in the history of Colombia. Many historians believe that April 9, 1948 was the day where real violence was born in our nation, as well as marking the birth of the guerrilla in the country. At this point, we went from fighting the right belief to get into a fight with the left beliefs. The left movement was born and created by the citizens that got tired of being outsided and not treated fairly. This group grew stronger also because at this time the Cuban Revolution was going on as well, and this caused a huge influence at that time. These groups were known as auto defenders, liberals who used their own guns to defend themselves from the abuse of the national government. Gaitán thus caused a huge revolution between the Bogotá citizens. Gaitán followers came together to make justice all on their own. They promise to kill the person who has killed the caudillo. Bogota was destroyed and the anarchy took over. Many hypotheses has been made over who really committed that crime. It was said that there was a possibility of conspiracy from the CIA as well as possible had been betrayed by his own followers. The majority of citizens believed Gaitan was a worthy power representative. Gaitan had ideals that would of benefit the citizen and their town instead of harm it. Colombia has been a nation that has repeatedly made the same mistake as well as repeated other countries' mistakes. If we want to change the history of our country, we need to be knowledgeable about universal history as well as our own. This way we could start building a better place and country. Chapter number 4. Process of Peace. The process of peace summarizes conversation and dialogues about making peace between the national government and the revolutionary groups. The process for peace started while Belisario Betancourt was in presidency and the guerrilla mobilization happened in 1989. Then, while Andrés Pastrana was the president, the process for peace reopened again. This time, the government was able to dialogue with the FARC in San Vicente del Caguán during the Fallen Clear Zone. During Juan Manuel Santos, the process got restarted again. We had to admit that in order to be able to get to the point of actually having peace in Colombia, the community is needed. La Habana, Cuba. It had been proven based on experience that when the government and the guerrilla has tried to negotiate Colombian peace, it had been very unsuccessful. It is definitely required the presence of international agents to intervene and not let the process get broken again. The United States does not have the influence in Colombia to be able to help negotiate it as it did with Guatemala. But there are other strong agents who can help with the negotiations. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.